Deadbugs are one of the most common core exercises given by trainers, but they're also one of the most undercoached. And when done poorly, they can lead to neck pain, back pain, and not really feeling your core at all. I had this video I made on deadbugs on TikTok go viral, and I was getting a lot of comments that I wanted to address in more detail. So I thought I would make this YouTube video so that I could really describe everything that I wanted to about deadbugs. In this video, I'm going to show you how I teach the deadbug, modifications and progressions that you can make with the deadbug, and then answer some frequently asked questions I get about doing the deadbug exercise. So let's get into it, starting with the deadbug position. Lying on your back, raise your arms and legs with knees bent, both stacked over your shoulders and knees. The core work doesn't come from rounding your back and crunching into the deadbug, but your head stays on the floor and your lower back is always touching the floor, not rounded into the floor. This is training your core through anti-extension. Your back wants to extend and lift off the floor, but your core is keeping it in place. As one leg extends out, the most common thing to happen is the lower back immediately lifts. That is because the psoas muscle connects the upper leg to the lower back, and the psoas is staying tense to support yourself as you lower the leg. But we want the psoas to lengthen, and we want the deeper core muscles to stabilize the hips and support the movement. The aim is to maintain a posterior pelvic tilt during the deadbug. Your hips are rotated up towards you. Picture like you have a belt buckle on and you're tilting the belt buckle up towards your chin through the whole movement. Keeping a strong core and not extending off the floor, see how far you can extend your leg and arm away from each other. You can extend your opposite arm and leg or the same side arm and leg. I usually let clients choose whichever one comes most natural to them so they don't have to think about the coordination and can focus more on feeling the core engagement. If you really want someone to choose for you, I would train the opposite arm and leg, since that includes a cross-body component to the movement. Typically, deadbugs are done for reps, so you could do somewhere between 8 to 10 reps each side, either alternating, or if you really want to focus on feeling the muscles, I would do all the reps on one side and then switch to the other side, and then you can kind of compare A to B. Now let's talk about modifications and progressions. If you struggle to keep your lower back on the ground during deadbugs, I have 2 suggestions for you. The first one is bringing the limbs closer to the midline of your body. The second one is using external surfaces like walls and floors to give you support. The first one is bringing the limbs closer together, because when I'm in the deadbug position and my knees are stacked over my hips, my feet and shins are still hanging out away from my hips over my body. And that is a bit of body weight that is pulling my legs down. If I haven't really trained the deadbug position and I don't have my core working the way that it needs to, I'm gonna start lifting off immediately just with that little bit of weight outside of my midline. When I'm saying midline, I'm talking about if you draw a line straight through the middle of my body when I'm laying on my back. By bringing the knees closer to the chest as you do the deadbug, this brings the weight closer to the midline, which means there's less weight outside of your hips and it's going to be easier to hold this position. So when you're first getting adjusted, what you could do is bring one knee close to the chest or as high up the chest as you can, and then extend the other leg out and see if that helps you from lowering your back or arching your back off the floor. As you get better, as you build that engagement and that awareness, you can slowly bring that knee further away until the knee is stacked over top of the hips. And the second is to use external surfaces like walls and floors to give you support and to create tension in your body as you do the deadbug. Walls and floors are super useful tools because they don't typically move and provide great feedback and support. If you can't get your back to relax no matter what you do when you get into the deadbug position, I would place your feet on a wall at 90 degrees and place your hands on your belly. The goal is just to breathe and get your back to relax. Between your feet on the floor and your back on the wall, there's plenty of support to allow you to relax and adjust into this position. The wall also makes a great support for bracing the upper body. Turn around with your head almost touching the wall and reach up and put both hands on the wall. Don't tense your neck or shrug your shoulders. What you're doing is just getting a bit of support with your hand on the wall that you can pull into. You also want to think that you're reaching your elbow up to the ceiling to keep it out of your neck. Don't tense the neck or shrug your shoulders while you're doing this. What you could also do is use a bench or a barbell for support as long as they are secure and won't move when you put your full body weight into it. I've had to learn this lesson the hard way a couple of times. Another tool that I really like to use to help understand the tension and support to feel the core during the deadbug position is using either a small ball or a yoga block to create tension between the opposite arm and leg. Keeping your head on the floor, press firmly into the block or ball with your opposite arm and leg, and keep that pressure as you extend the other arm and leg out in the deadbug position. A great indicator that you are at the end range of the deadbug is when you start to lose pressure on the ball or block. A few ways that you can modify deadbugs to potentially make them harder is to do isometric holds, to add an anti-rotation component and to add a little bit of weight to the dead bug. I really love using isometrics with dead bugs because it really reinforces that anti-extension component in different positions. With one leg extended, both legs extended, arms in or out, they are all forcing you to hold the position for an extended period of time without arching the back. Choose a position that is challenging but doable and hold for 20 seconds. Repeat for 3 rounds, but every round, see if you can extend just a little bit further each time while still holding that control through your core. Adding the anti-rotation component can make things really interesting. You attach a band to a post or a rack and then move far enough away that you have a small amount of tension, not enough to completely pull you and rotate you. Lay on your back and extend your arms straight out above you as you're laying, looking at the ceiling. As you feel that tension through the band, you can slowly pick your feet up off the ground, set yourself with your lower back touching the floor, and then try to extend one leg fully out without the band pulling you into that rotation. Lastly, you can really increase the difficulty of dead bugs by adding just a small amount of weight. By adding just 5 to 10 pounds, you can really add to the difficulty of holding that anti-extension position. And I really like to combine the isometrics with the weight. So if you could hold out an extended one leg, 2 leg, different positions for a different period of time, you're really going to notice that the difficulty ramps up. Now we're going to wrap up with a few FAQs that I have gotten from videos that I've posted online on social media. If you're not following me on TikTok or Instagram, I would recommend checking me out at Cam Bentley on both platforms. Posting more short form content on both of those. First and most common one that I get is when I feel a pop, click, or snap in my hips as I'm doing the dead bug. And the answer to this is that you are holding tension through the hip flexors as you're doing the dead bug. This is super common and can happen when either the core isn't properly activated, or you just haven't really done this movement very much and need time to adjust to it. Our muscles and tendons definitely need a bit of tension, or else we would just collapse into a big pile of bones. But when we're holding too much tension through our hip flexors, as we lower the leg, we are lengthening, and then at some point it can flip over a bone and create that snapping or popping feeling. If you've just started doing dead bugs and you have this sensation, give it a few weeks and see if your body will adjust. You could also reduce how far your leg is extending out if you find it just a really gross feeling to experience. As long as your core is properly engaged and your back's not lifting off, you should be all right with a little bit of popping and clicking here and there. And if the snapping or clicking continues for 2 or 3 weeks after you've been doing regular dead bugs multiple times a week, there might be other muscle imbalances you need to address. I would recommend reaching out to a trainer or a physiotherapist. Or if you're interested, I offer online training. So you can click the link below and book a free consultation call with me where I can help you go through some muscle imbalances and create a personalized program suited for you and your needs. Next question is when you feel your quads burning more than your core. This could potentially mean 2 things. One is that your hip flexors are really weak and you need to work on building them, or that as you're doing the dead bug, you're really focused on pulling the leg back up and involving the hip flexors, and you aren't setting yourself into the floor and really getting your core to do the work to lift the leg back up. If it continues to be a problem, what I would recommend is doing a long lever isometric hold for the dead bug, keeping one knee stacked over the hip and the other leg extended out. If we're not bringing the knees all the way up to the chest, we're not going to be activating the hip flexors as much, and we can really focus on training the core instead. Same as the popping or clicking, I'd recommend giving it 2 to 3 weeks to adjust to the dead bugs if you have just started with them. Maybe it goes away and you feel it in your core more, or you just need to make one of those adjustments. The next question I get is what happens when I'm feeling one side more active than the other? This is really common, and it's just presenting a left-right asymmetry, that one side is a bit more dominant for you than the other. Almost all of us have a little bit of bias to one leg or one direction of rotation than the other. And my advice is simple. The first step is to spend more time training the strange or less stable side. The more time you spend connecting with that side, building the awareness of what should be working and what needs to relax, the more natural it will come over time. For dead bugs specifically, say my right leg lowering down, it feels stranger than my left leg lowering down. So what I would do is I would start with my right leg. I would do 10 reps on that side. I would go to my dominant side, my left leg, 10 reps there. I would repeat for a second set or a second round back on my right leg. So I would do right, left, right, and do twice as many reps on the right side and repeat that for the 3 sets of dead bugs that I'm doing. Will dead bugs help me lose belly fat? While dead bugs are probably not going to help you directly lose a significant amount of belly fat, I think it is great to train your core because it is going to make you stronger and more durable to do all the activities and exercises that you want to do. You're not going to be sidelined by back pain or another injury that might be due to a weak core. Training dead bugs and other core exercises are very important to a well-rounded strength program. When you train your core, you're going to get into a more regular routine. You might actually feel like your core is getting stronger, and that can motivate you to train more often, do more activities. And through that, combined with a balanced diet, calorie deficit, you're going to lean out, you're going to feel stronger, you're going to move better. Lastly, when should I train dead bugs? So for me personally, I tend to have a bit of an arched back, a little bit of lordosis. So I find that before a lot of my workouts, doing 2 rounds, sometimes 3 rounds of dead bugs, where I'm remembering to not extend through my back and get my core engaged, is really helpful before I go into my workout. So for me, it's usually my warm up. Some people that I program for really like to have it at the end because they don't want to kind of take away from the other warm up exercises. Like if you have too long of a warm up, you might get tired or start to lose your energy before you get into the main exercises. So they would rather finish doing their core work at the end. Or you can do it on your off days, just really whenever you want, as long as you're getting it in. And I would say probably twice is a really good baseline. 3 times is great. For me, I'm even doing it like 3 to 4 times because that's just at the start of most of my workouts as a warm up. Just make sure you are focused on the form and you're getting the most out of the dead bugs whenever you're doing them. And with that, you've got a crash course in dead bugs and how to build a strong core for anti-extension. Now use these dead bugs and this information to help you move better however you move. If you have more comments or questions, please drop them down below and I will do my best to help. And I will see you in the next video.